Good evening, everyone, to another episode of Dan Does Data. I apologize if my voice sounds a little off. I'm just getting over a cold and been coughing quite a bit. But we are going to press on. If I have to end early because my voice is giving out, that's the way it's got to be. Just the nature of the business. Tonight, we're still looking at the self-driving car, but instead of focusing on the model, I want to focus on the data collection platform. And you might be wondering, data collection platform? There is no data collection. I've just been using data sets that I can find, such as Deep Drive, the Grand Theft Auto data set. I haven't looked at the Audacity data set, but I did look at another data set. But we have this car now, Otto, the self-driving tractor, and it can take pictures and learn. It can take pictures, it can steer, it can do all these things. So we really ought to be collecting data with it on things that we think are similar to the track it will actually be on. And then I won't have to worry as much that the data I have isn't representative of like the type of vehicle I have, how much I can actually turn, the geometry, the kind of environment we're going to be in. So having Otto actually be able to collect its own data will go a long way. So the way, my plan here is to steal the data, steal the code from how Otto actually runs, and use that to grab the image and receive from the actual the FUBARino, the board that's physically controlling the car, what the current steering is. So the idea is we'll drive in remote. Let me just type this out a little bit. You drive in remote control mode. You take webcam footage every second or whatever, and you receive steering information plus whatever else, acceleration or things like that, and then you record all in convenient format. So the question is, how do I have my data recorded down? Which is a good question. As long as it's autonomous, did I just stuff it in data? I did stuff it in data. And so now they're sitting in three big arrays. The images array, which are just the images, the speedx, which contains the speed and acceleration information, and the targets, which contains the steering output and the gas, how fast are we going output. So that's actually receive steering information plus receive steering plus gas. We'll say gas pedal, including direction. In case we want to do that, we ended up taking that out of our model, of course, but we might add it back in. And so if we have data that actually pertains to the vehicle, that'll help us out quite a bit. So this is the strategy. We'll be driving in remote control mode, and so the webcam won't be being used to drive in remote control mode. It'll just be used to record what is the car able to see in this situation. And of course, I'm broadcasting now, showing the webcam. Oh, am I not showing the webcam? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There we go. Of course, I might turn off that feature so I can actually read it here during the stream. So you can see my face right now, but I might turn that off just so I can debug and try that out. So things we're going to need. I don't think I'm going to need H5Pi, in all honesty. Let me grab stuff and then I can get rid of it later. Yeah, I like art parse, let's do that. I'm going to need serial. I'm not going to need Keras, believe it or not, because we're not doing anything with the model here. Not going to need H5Pi. I might need sci-fi to resize the image. There's no reason why I wouldn't store video. So let's just do that. I'll get to this other parser stuff later. The important thing we need is the serial, of course, so we can actually communicate. Now I haven't sorted out exactly how we're going to communicate with the board, like what the actual commands are going to be, but I imagine that's not going to be rocket science to do. In an ideal world, the board will just send the same information that I send to it when we're driving autonomously, and then I can get that and interpret it as needed. These things should be doable. Part of the problem will be getting the FUBARino board to actually respond with that correct information. Alright, so we import serial. We want to drive in remote control mode. We need to take some webcam footage. Which means we got to set up the camera. We need all this pill stuff. We need this PyCam stuff. We need all of it. There we go. We're going to have to pygame.init. You know what? Let me try taking my face out of this for a second. Bam. I want to see if that will actually work. Yeah. If I can import pygame. The problem is, like, I can tell the camera is on right now. It might not let me. It might say, nope, not going to happen. Oh, didn't yell at me. Alright. It might still yell at me at some point. We might get there. We'll find out. Yeah, here we go. When you initialize the webcam... No, I don't want to put that there. I'm going to have this loop, and that's where that stuff's going to be. So I got a list of cameras. Cams, yeah. Can do that. Can I do this? No. No supported formats? What? That's odd. What's cam? Cam dot get query image? Is that something I can do? False. Okay. Cam dot get size. Yeah. Cam dot get image. I bet I can't do that. I have to start it. Do I not have to start it? That doesn't seem to be working. Hey Isaac, hey Rick, glad you guys could make it, and seg faults. You got here just in time for the first seg fault of the night. I say first, because when programming, it's almost always going to be more than one. Alright, let's try this stuff again. Maybe now it'll work. I'm not sure how to keep my streaming information from getting to the camera. Yeah, failure. No supported formats. So let me look this up. Maybe this is something I can research quickly on what the hell is this? Report a problem. No, leave closed. Let's see if we can figure this out. So tonight we're just doing data collection. So it's not even really machine learning, but that's okay because the channel is called Dan Does Data. Apparently I've looked at this problem before. Problem with camera. Problem with camera. I'm almost certain this camera is supported though, because I'm almost certain I'm using the exact same camera that Otto uses because it's a cheap Logitech webcam. I'm going to take a shot, yada yada yada, pygame.start. So it might be that Ubuntu doesn't support it for whatever reason, or I'd have to fiddle with it. Tried to take a snapshot with and got a dummy image. Is that something I have? Let's find out. No, that's not something I have. Oh, good fun, good fun. So it's not critical that I'm able to do this, but it would certainly be nice. Some webcams don't work. This is about talking about Raspberry Pi. So I suspect it's because the camera's in use. But pygame camera in use? Question mark? I'm Ron Burgundy? That's sort of how I feel. I'm just like scraping around. How to stream a webcam with Python. That's not really what I want to do. Notice number of cameras don't work with something Linux, yada yada yada. I need OpenCV? No, I thought I got around without OpenCV. Oh, you can use OpenCV to use the camera. I see. I don't think I have OpenCV installed, but we can install it. Or it might be enormous and not something I want to install on stream, I think I recall. Yeah, and you got to install OpenCV separate itself. I should have checked. This is something I should have checked, but I was in a rush before I got to the stream tonight. Curses. No supported formats. IO control. So maybe this is something. Maybe I can search this whole thing. Maybe that's what I want. I promise not to spend the whole time searching for how to fix the damn camera. Log tab webcam issue. January. Hey, that's actually recent. How to stream webcam. Yada yada yada. But you know, this is part of the problem of dealing with this kind of information. Pygame, I get this. I came across this. Would that help? Decided to use mplayer. No. So some people are just avoiding the problem. But I know I have to use Pygame works. Pygame camera. Yes, Rick. That is exactly the problem I'm having. Pygame.camera.init. So that works. I can get a cam. I get a cam object. .stop. Can I do that? Bad file descriptor. Yeah. What about this? What are the hidden things? Nothing interesting. Cam.get controls. I don't think this camera has any controls. False, false, and 0. Yeah. And you can try to get image and get raw and stuff. But yeah, it's like not open. It doesn't know what to do. One of those things, man. One of those things. That's going to be in Spanish, isn't it? Okay, well, they have source code. I speak Python, so maybe that's... No, they're doing a start. And they get the same error I get. And the next message says... Problem with the time array? Or is it the previous message? My lack of Spanish is not going to help me out there. This format is not supported. This is the thing I saw earlier. Ah, man. This is just irritating because, like, I know the webcam... I know the webcam works because it streams all the time. Not supported. Not supported by Pygame. What? It's not planned to implement videos. If so, when? Follow-ups. USB webcams, which you've seen this error. ls USB-V and ls mod showing the camera manufacturer kernel module. References next. No, that's it. Curse you. Alright. Well, I will not fiddle. I will not worry about that then. Which means there's not going to be any debugging tonight. Which means it might end up being quick. If I can't debug anything, it must be working perfectly. And it might just be something stupid. When OBS has like a lock on the camera, it refuses to open. It might be something that silly, and that's sort of just the way it goes. So I sort of want a while true or something. Let me say images file. Images file, yeah. So this is going to be images. So I need a file name. Cam.start works for me. Yeah, it works for you, I guess. So some people, cam.start works fine. If you're following along at home, if it works for you, that's awesome. If you're doing something different than what I'm doing, let me know. Import date time. But right now, I just need to get a file name for the images array that I will have. So when I want to mark it with the date, just to have that as well. So date equals date time dot date time dot now. Is that a thing? Yeah, nice. Date dot string. Can I do that? No. Can I just say string of date? Okay, that's too much. Date dot string f time, right? So I want to print the date in a particular way. I gotta remember how this works. Format, string f time, style string, as opposed to string p time, new date time, where you parse the string. Do I have a second camera? I do not have a second camera, actually. I have one webcam that I use for all work. That's just kind of the way that is. Again, I'm not too worried about that. That's something I can work on off stream, and I know that part works on Otto. So that part, hopefully not a problem. Right, so string f time. I don't really care about the, well, I do care about the actual time. I don't need microseconds, is what I don't need fractional seconds. But will you tell me but of course you won't tell me what the special mini language is for string f time. So string f time lets you format time objects, or date time objects in Python. Python string f time reference. And there's a bunch of little codes for how to format things. So like, what is the day of the week? What is the full name of the day of the week? And all this other jazz. This is exactly what I wanted. This is amazing. This is like the things I always forget. Okay. So I will want, this part's fine. I don't want a space. So today date dot, no, let me just say time format equals year, I think is Y. Year without a zero pad? No, I want a zero pad the year for sure. Y2K compliant, man. Month as zero padded, so that's %m dash the day of the month as zero padded. Yeah, always zero pad. Then we'll underscore. And then I just want hours, minutes, seconds. Hours, 24-hour clock. Heck yes. We love 24 hours here. Again, no confusion. Minutes are capital M, I think. Minute as zero padded. Perfect. I love America. This is good. And second should be %s, if there's any justice. Yeah, zero padded, capital S. And I don't need decimal seconds, which is somewhere in here, I'm sure. Microsecond as a decimal number, yeah, not something I require. Oh, you can get all other kinds of stuff. Locales appropriate, interesting. Fun, fun, fun. So if I say date.stringf print, is that right? String f time, excuse me, of time format. Yeah. Oh, man, give me the damn... No, that gave me seconds in Unix epic time, didn't it? Second is zero padded number. That's weird. Why would you do that? Date seconds? 25. Date, is there an epic time? Did I say int of date? Does that tell me? No, I didn't think so. Date.time date.time. Function datetime dot. Oh, cute. Oh yeah, that's adorable. So that clearly did not. Oh, percent capital. It's capital S. Rookie mistake. Capital S. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so time format is going to equal this. So I'm just going to make this part of the file name so that I always know when I collected the data. Because otherwise I'm going to go crazy and not know what data is from when. So it's going to be images underscore 0 NPZ. Yeah, images underscore 0 is fine. Dot format, and it's going to be date dot string f time of time format. There we go. Bing. And now we'll save a file name. That's this. So that's good. Where the heck am I? I'm in the right place. Okay. Always good to check. That's the images file. We'll need the speedx file. Speedx file, of course. Very important. That's in data. There we go. Speedx, yes. Let's leave this on the bottom here, just so I don't forget. Speedx. And like, yeah, I could just do the string f, the time format once, but that's not going to be a big deal. That's not going to be the thing that breaks me. Excuse me. Alright, it's been 20 minutes and I've accomplished nothing. This is perfect. you get that set up, and for now I'm just going to say while true. We could say record for a certain number of frames, or do something else, or yada yada yada. Not going to worry about any of that just at this second. I do need to set up my serial connection though. So let's do this. Ding. Perfect. Serial equals serial.serial. This is what we connect to our serial port. Otherwise, we just open up some test data. Yeah, that's right. In this case, that's test data, that's input. But instead, I want test input, test. It's still data. Test data input. Test data collect. That makes more sense. There we go. Test collect. Easier. So we're stealing the same thing. That's all we were doing. Okay, so now we're in the part where we're going to run through the script. It will just keep recording these all the time. Let me import time as well, because I have a feeling we're going to need to time.sleep for a second or so in between each one, until our steering is actually able to respond quickly enough. Although in remote control mode, it's not as bad. Oh well. So we need to take a picture. How do we take a picture? Well, we come down here and figure out how do we take a picture. Do I not actually? Did I skip right by that? That's amazing. High gain image surf array cam.get image. Here we go. This is how we grab a picture. Doink. If not debug, otherwise it's like don't even. Oh, that's the, hang on. There we go. No, I like that. Let me like double comment these as though in a markdown style, so I know that's the like higher level thing. Lower level, I should say. There we go. I could leave spaces in here too, but then when I go to copy paste a Slimux, it's not going to like that. So use this Pygame surf array business to actually get the image as a red, green, blue business. It's a rectangular image is what I get. It's like 320 by 240 or whatever it is. So I throw away the outside columns, the widescreen edition, and then I shrink it down to 64 by 64. So that's all the same. That's all good. And I transpose it. The question is, when I'm training, do I do anything to that input data? So I've opened up my simple steering model, which is no longer simple, but does still look at the steering. And I don't do any transposing in here when I'm fitting things to the model. So I believe that means I do need to transpose it here to do that right. And this is just a matter of putting the channels first, the red, and then the X's, and then the Y's? Hang on. Maybe this is the other way around. I still believe that is correct, because I'm using this exact image in the model to make my prediction. So that must be the right kind of image. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what would be cool is if I also ran the model while it was just recording, so we can see what it wants to do. In theory, like we can do that already. It's just not when it's recording data. So maybe I will change around this collect.py and just modify Otto and have a mode that says, hey, collect instead of write, if you're not in autonomous mode. Or maybe collect anyway. But then it'll have to check what mode it's in and all this other jazz, and I'll worry about that later. Right now, just get something going. That's all we got to do. Okay, we got to get some kind of data here. And this type of data is what the question is going to be. So if it's the same kind of thing that I send to the FUBARino, which would be really cool if it were. And Rick, maybe here is where you would have some good input as far as what data can you easily send back to me in terms of send me the steering and send me the current like acceleration. And by acceleration I mean how much are we punching the gas? What numbers are you sending for that information? And if those can be in the same units that I send to you, that would be fantastic. So I want to see like what is the function that I send to you? And the answer is it's a drive string. So let me just grab this so I have it for quick reference. So we're going to need like a parse drive string kind of thing. Well, not even actually. Because it's going to be steer equals data. No, not str. Don't do that. There we go. Equals data 0. What is the next one? The next one is direction equals, oh, int. List map, oh, float. That's weird. No, I want these to be integers. Definitely integers. Int. There we go. All right, steer equals data 0, direction equals data 1. And then it's speed, which is like gas, we're saying, equals data 2. And what is the last one? Time in milliseconds. Okay. Rick says he can give me Euler angles for doing like the yaw, pitch, and the roll stuff. Steering angle achieved would be good. And if we just know, if you can give me a string that looks like the drive string that I send to you, I think that would be perfect. Because that's, my model sort of knows how to handle that and what to do with that. We don't need, if we could measure the actual speed of the wheels, that'd be good information just to measure. I can try to infer that because we have, this device also measures the, you're sending me the acceleration normally. You could send me that again. Yeah, so that would be good. Time equals data 3 perhaps. And then we're maybe saying that speed equals data 4 and a cell equals data 5. Let's hypothetically say that's the things I'm being sent. Just hypothetically. Can send it right back with the new data. That sounds like it might be good. So if we're recording all this data in this format, I want to grab all the data, then I want to start saving it. And well, I want to add it to a big list of arrays. And that is where simple steer comes in. No. I think that's actually going to be where the shrink array comes in. Because this is where I sort of do something funny. I set up, what did I do? I set up a list of arrays, or I set up one array? I set up a list of arrays and I added a bunch of arrays to it. And then I created an array from that list of arrays. Alright, I did terrible things. I'm a horrible person. I apologize. But that's sort of what I have to do here. Unless I'm saving for a particular number of frames. If num frames, then I know images equals numpy dot zeros. How big are these? Something like this. Here we go. Over here. There we go. Instead of being length of B, this will be num frames. So if I'm only going to be recording for a particular number of frames, this is how much information I need to save. And I don't really want to do that. I want to save it with int 8s. That's a thing, I believe. Import numpy snp uint 8. Yeah, uint 8. Okay, excuse me. unsigned integer. That'll be good. So I should say setup storage. There we go. And you will want to save speeds and targets. That's right. Speed X. What is Speed X? It's the same thing it is every week. I try to take over the... No, it's different than that. Let's see. All the things, 2 columns. It's float 16. So, you know what? I don't need simple string anymore. I'm going to close it now and reopen it in 2 seconds, no doubt. Same deal, num frames, and there's only 2, and this is numpy.float16, right? Yeah. Except float has 1.0, always important to know. And targets is our actual steering and not gas category, our gas. So steering then gas, steering then gas. Okay. Good to know, which is going to look very similar. Ugh, excuse me. The catch happens if we don't have a certain number of frames that we're going to save for. I might just want to keep recording until I run out. And I'm trying to think what the best way to do this is, whether to just every n frames sort of record, save the information, stuff it back down. I think I might do that. And the answer might be, how much memory does all this take? So if I've got 3 times 64 times 64 bytes that I'm saving off for each frame, every frame is using, each data point is using about 12,000 bytes, 12K. Not much. I'm getting, 4 extra bytes from these other guys. Right, so plus 4, whatever. So obviously times 1,000, I'm looking at 12 megabytes of information, which is nothing. Nothing. At the point of 10,000 frames, which is a lot of data. Not a ton of data, but that's a good amount of data. If I'm recording 1 frame a second, you figure 1,000 seconds is getting to be 15 minutes. So you're looking at 15 hours of continuous drive time. That's not going to happen, essentially. That's just never going to happen. I'm never going to be driving this car for 15 hours continuously. The battery will die before that, so I don't even need to worry about it. So I think I'm going to set the max frames at 10,000, just because I can. And I'll make that a constant up here. And what I'll do is, if you exceed the max frames, I'll just save off the information and then just start a new file. That's the easy thing to do. We'll just like recompute the time, get new files, do all that. So if you have a particular number of frames, we'll only record that many, and then we'll stop. Oh, maybe I should just say record this many frames per go. Like, when am I actually going to know how many frames I want at a time? Really? I mean, that's silly. Okay, so arguments. N num frames action does not equal store true. I don't remember how this works. Does action just equal store? Is that something I can do? Steer Otto, the autonomous tractor, and collect data. So do I have argparse? Do I have this? Parser.add arguments. Let's see if I can do this without having to look up. No, I have to look this up. Because I can never remember exactly how argparse works unless I have a reference handy. Argparse Python. And so you just got to look at these things. Question, why do I have to collect data once per second? Because it turns out Otto only seems to be able to control its steering once per second. So I could try to collect a whole lot more data, saying, oh, at this particular time, at that particular time. But that seems to be about how quickly we can actually control the car. So I want my data collection system to be as close to how we can actually drive the car as possible. Otherwise, you're right, that'd be silly. Why would I only connect once per second? I might time.sleep for like 100 milliseconds or 10 milliseconds just to like sort of standardize how long it takes. But in this case, I do just want to collect for a particular number, a particular interval of 1 second. Oh, Jesus, come on, just give me an example. I just want to store something. No, I don't want to. Oh my gosh. I just want to pass in a value. Prog, argparse. Is there argparse examples? Tutorial, maybe that's what I want. Like, I need the cheat sheet page. This is what I need for argparse. I need argparse.org. Someone make it happen. Make argparse.org happen. Yes, and Rick is mentioning that the steering right now is slow, but we're working on making that faster. If we can steer with the rear wheels, that should improve the speed with which we can actually steer. But like just going all the way from to the right to all the way to the left takes a couple seconds. Introducing positional arguments. I don't want positional arguments. I just want simple argument parsing. Oh my gosh, come on. Come on. It's not rocket science. No, 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 not storing true. I just want... Come on, come on. I swear this was not that complicated. And this is just, for some reason, written in a way as to be as least helpful to me as possible. No, I don't want to store true. I want to store the actual value. Good gravy. Alright, this was not supposed to be that complicated. And I'm sure it's not that complicated. It's just a matter of I don't see the actual thing. -- foo, help. Do you give me the code for this? Help foo. Maybe this is what I want. Would the self-driving car also have a self-tuning radio? We can definitely work on that. We can put some GNU radio on this, and it can try to tune to whatever music it likes. The question is, what kind of music will Otto, the self-driving car, like? It might prefer static. I'm not one to judge what a simple artificial intelligence, what kind of music it would like. I think very much it might end up liking static more than more human music. Alright, so I think just -foo, whatever. In args, I don't have... Oh my gosh. Like, why do you make this so complicated? You know what? Screw it. There's got to be simpler ways to think about this. Jeez, oh man. Does this thing I can do? No. Wait, yes? Store action... Oh, I don't... No, not default, false. Default 1000. Frame. Conflicting option strings. -n, -n frames. Yes, that's because I got rid of the old one. There we go. Alright, I guess that's fine. So you know what? I don't even need max frames. Not something I need. So yes, we will just store up we'll store up num frames worth, and then we'll start a new file. This does mean that I do need to keep track of frame count. Frame index equals 0 when we start. And we're storing all its stuff. So I'll say stuff into appropriate arrays. Appropriate arrays, there we go. So I'll say images of, I'm just going to call this index. I don't need to call it frame index. Because there's more than just a frame. Index equals image. Yeah, there we go. We'll have to make sure that image is the right type of data. So I might have to do some numpy array casting. Numpy.array, this business.dtype equals numpy.uint8. Let's just make sure of that. Speed x of index is going to equal this business. Let's It's going to be steer and gas. Gas times let me think about this. Okay, if direction, gas equals that, else, if we're going backwards, and I really want this to be just negative. Negative. There we go. So now I just need to store steering gas. And again, just to reinforce, dtype equals numpy.uint 8, no, float 16. 16 bits of float. Delicious. And targets, IDX. So I'm pushing all the hard stuff off on Rick. Question from the audience. Did I implement Kara's batch normalization in the model? They've read great things about batch normalization, but they haven't really worked for you unless you eliminate the dropout. When I was doing the actual modeling, and here's where I need to open up the model again. So thanks for proving me right that I would have had to open up this model again. Did I do batch normalization? I don't think I did normalize within each batch. I normalized the data overall. I don't think I did normalization within a batch. Doing batch size 32, I'm not doing anything special. I've heard good things about that as well, but I haven't tried it out myself. I think good experimental design can help save you from a lot of that trouble. So if you are able to collect your own data and the data itself conforms to the distributions it's supposed to, that can save you from a lot of this kind of headache. So the more control you have over your data, the better you can make it from your model, and the fewer machine learning gymnastics you have to do to try to make your model fit your data. So find the data that actually solves the problem you want to solve. That's what I would emphasize. Although I'm sure a lot of machine learning engineers will say that's horrible, just let the data, make a bigger model, it'll sort out all the problems in the data. I think if you know something about the problem, you should use that. There's no sense trying to make the machine do that for you. You can save yourself a whole lot of headache if you already know part of the answer. Targets. This is the same shape. This is speed and a cell, right? Yeah. There we go. I believe that's correct. I did these things wrong. This should be speed X, and this should be targets. One of these days, man. One of these days. Okay, now we're going to increment. Increment counter, maybe save. So index plus equals 1. We don't have plus plus because we're not in C. Oh well. And I want to say if index mod num frames equals 0, time to save. And here is where I steal the stuff from shrinkray. Like it's just, I have the script that's called shrink for shrinking the big like deep drive data set and other things. But I'd prefer to call it shrinkray. That's just more fun. Whoa. Hang on. Don't I want to save Z compress and all this stuff? I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. Everything's fine, this is fine. So, what do I have? I'm gonna have images file, speedx file, targets file. Images file, speedx file, targets file. There we go. Speedx and targets. Cool. If that's the case, save these things off, and then we need to generate a new name. And so, like, I could put this in a function, but it's so short that I'm really not worried about it. I am, however, yeah, there we go. So do that. And that again. I'm not going to muck with index. I want to keep that around. And I need to reinitialize my storage, essentially, as well. So zero out all these guys again. This is what I need to do. Make new data. Make new data files. Zero out storage. And I wonder if I have images. I haven't actually done this. Some num frames equals 100, say. There we go. Images. If I say images plus equals 1. Images. If I say images equals 0. Oh, that's cool. Ah. If I say images of all these things equals 0. Hang on. Images is this. Images plus equals 1. So adding 1 to everything, right? Images of everything equals 0. Oh, that's beautiful. I like that. I'm going to do this. I like this solution. Because that way I know it's the same memory. I'm not creating more. There's something almost platonic about manipulating the same memory, that I've locked this out and I'm using that to store my information. Alright, let me clean up some of this white space here to make it harder to read, of course. It's an important part of the code. Make it as difficult to read as possible. Then we'll sleep for a second. So yes, hopefully some time will have passed. I don't need new time format. Some time will have passed between when I called the date before and when I call it now. And so that will give us a new file. And this is all happening after we save this file. And after we saved and have created our new files, or at least gotten our new files ready, then, and only then, do we zero out our old data. So I like that. And this happens when we're on the 0th frame of something, or just after we finish the last frame. So when we start, we'll start at index 0. You can come down here. We'll do a bunch of stuff, and then we'll increment, and it'll be at 1. So unless num frames is 1, we're not going to run this yet. It'll be until we cycle around again with our index and on our num frames. Which I actually need to take care of. Num frames equals args.num frames. I believe I can do this. I believe I can do that. Yes. Okay. I think that's working right. Args equals parser.parse args question mark? No, damn it. You're lying. You're lying. Dash n 1000. Can I do this? Unrecognized arguments. Yeah, figures. Dash n num frames. Oh, okay, that's fine, that's fine. I'm sure this is all fine and everything's fine. Okay, so I think that's actually all the jazz that we need in here. So the catch is, where's the catch? How hard is it going to be to get all this information to come down the serial line at the appropriate time? And do I need to send any information back to the FUBARino board controlling it? Because maybe I'll need to say, hey, hang on, I didn't get that last message, or I can just send an OK, and then the FUBARino won't send another one until it gets the OK. Or maybe I even start by saying OK. Maybe I send OK up here. I say, OK, send me something. And then I go and I do this, and I send it. I compute all this stuff, and then I wait a second, and then I come back up here and I say, OK, send me another one. So I know that the information I'm getting is timely. So maybe send OK ready to the serial port. I'm not going to implement that right now just because I don't know how that's going to go down. and then getting this actual information. So the steering I know we have, the direction I know we have, the gas we really ought to have. It's just, we'll have to dig into the FUBARino code to see how that's going. And that could be a challenge, but that should be surmountable. That's not rocket science. Some of this stuff that we work on is getting close to rocket science, but it's not quite there. So I think we actually have a data collection script that will just run and run and run until we kill it. And it will save every n trials or whatever. We could add in a little bit of error checking. So like if we interrupt the script, it will try to save the information that it has right now and that before it crashes. And maybe that's something about how, actually I should really do that. Should really do that. Should really do a try. And any kind of error whatsoever. Except if there's any error whatsoever, I want to save off the information that I have. But I don't want to save everything. I want to save everything up to, up to whatever the current index is, where something went wrong, because that step might not be done. And that should be good. All right, so I think we have a data collection platform now. It's totally untested, but that's fine. I'm sure everything will work great because it's all in Python. And no one called out any super obvious errors that I made. If I did, feel free to leave them in comments or send me a message. I will git commit and push this to GitHub probably tonight. All right, thank you everyone for watching. I can tell my voice is giving out. So I am going to have to cut it now. We had almost a full episode, still pretty normal, but we should be able to collect some data for our actual car to run on its own, and I think that'll really help it learn. And it also means we can collect data in the kind of environments that we want. So that'll be good. All right, have a good night, everybody, and don't forget to stay safe in the data mines. Take care.